Hi, I'm Julia McNeill. This is my art show called Kalon. Kalon is of Greek origin, and it means that beauty is more than skin deep. As I began to create this art collection and base it off of microscopic anatomy, I realized how beautiful the human body really is, inside and outside. I became inspired by this by researching different scientists, whether that be Angelina Hess, who invented agar for petri dishes, and she was also a scientific illustrator, which was really interesting to me, or Leonardo da Vinci, who is a scientist and an artist, and he actually did dissections of human bodies to better understand how the muscles work, what tendons looked like, how the human form moved and why it moved the way it did. So that really inspired me that he, even way back then, was able to do all of that through art and to better understand the human body just by visualizing it and drawing it. These people really inspired me to look deeper at the human body and to appreciate it as not only as science, but also as art. And as I studied both of these things, I realized that there were many connections between art and science. It was amazing just to see all of the similarities between the two areas of study.
She approached me a while back and told me about her project, that she wanted to do an art project based on microscopic imagery. And so she asked me if I could help her with that. And since I teach human anatomy and human physiology, I'm obviously well aware of all the different areas of microscopy. She was specifically interested in different tissue sections, which is what we call histology. And so I brought her into the lab. I set her up with a microscope. I gave her a box of histology slides that we typically use for our nursing program. Each one of the slides actually has a listing of the different kinds of tissue that is on the slide and or what organ it specifically came from the body. And then I just sort of turned her loose and said if she had questions, if she needed some help, that she could come and talk to me. But otherwise, once I got her set up and going, then it was pretty much up to her to figure out what it was that she wanted to do with those slides.
It was one of the most unusual and interesting, exciting student art shows I've seen while I've been here at JBU. The combination of both her medical interest but then also her art interest was very unique.
When I first heard about her idea for the subject matter, which was to take these very close-up, almost molecular views of human anatomy, I was really wondering, okay, well, I don't necessarily think of the beauty of human tissue. I think of it more in a medical or anatomical thing. But she had already done the research and had realized herself about the beauty of some of these images. And really, as I thought about it and as she presented the idea, it was really to me it made a great concept, because in a lot of ways it showed not only is God, when He creates something, there's beauty that we can see, but there's also, you dig down as deep as you want to go, and there's still God's beauty there.
I go to a lot of the gallery shows that we have here at JBU, and I really appreciate the art that's there. But this was the first one that was really science themed, and so I really just wanted to sort of soak it in and just see what her vision of things were. And I really like the fact that she did take some themes, for example, the blood vessel theme, and she did several different works from that same idea, looking at different colors and using different materials to see what could come of that one image, that one vision.
Well, the subject matter was certainly unique. I don't think we've ever had a show dealing with this particular subject matter and the way Julia approached it. A couple of other things that really stood out is the variety of media that she's working in. Everything from embroidery to painting to screen printing. Just a variety of different media, which really shows not only her interest in the subject, but her command or her willingness to use go to a lot of different directions.
If I was surprised by anything, I was surprised about the vibrancy of the colors. So when I think about, the internal organs, I don't think about them in color. And this show showed the rich beauty of our internal organs and microscopic things that go on our blood vessels, and also the texture of them. So many of the pieces were done with fabric, and so you saw, and beads and other things, so you saw the depth of those things as well. So both the vibrancy, the color, and the depth, I think, were really unique.
I was more expecting a lot of just hand drawings or paintings and things like that, but to see all the different mediums that she was doing, I thought that was just really fascinating.
I really like train of thought. That one is probably my favorite. And then also go with your gut. I think I like those two because they were some of my starting pieces, and that was really what helped me get the idea rolling for the whole gallery show. And also just the colors in those two pieces, and they were a lot of fun to research and create, especially learning about Purkinje neurons. That was really interesting to me. When I first started college, I started out as purely an art student, but I began to realize how much I had a passion for science. And as I realized that, I really wanted to help other people be able to heal themselves and heal the brokenness in the world. So as I began thinking about the idea of going to medical school, I wanted a way to combine both of those passions, art and science. And so this is my way of doing that, making an art collection based off of human anatomy.
So I think that she will really be able to bring something unique in the profession of medicine, because medicine really is both a science and an art. And so I think that most of my students, and historically, I've been at JBU for 20 years, historically they all come through that science route. And so I think in that regard, some of them really struggle with the art of medicine and what does that really mean. But I think Julia's got a leg up on them in that regard because she's coming at it from that art perspective. There is something about hand-to-eye coordination. There's something about applying what you know as far as book knowledge to actually doing that in a physical sort of way. And that's really the difference between the science and the art. The science, you can do the science all in your head, but you can't do the art part in your head. You have to actually be manipulative. You have to get your hands in there. You have to coordinate the things that you know with the real physical world, and that's the art part. And I think, like I said, Julia has already been doing that. She's been looking at things under the microscope and then interpreting that and bringing that out, using her hands and using her brain to interpret that in a completely different medium. And so I think that that's really going to help her as far as her clinical part of her career goes, as far as school goes, but then also into practice, because she can already do those kinds of things of bringing what's in your brain out into the real world and practicing it in a great way. So that's where I see the difference between the science and the art part of medicine.
I've learned a lot about anatomy as I've researched everything for this, and also about different types of microscopes, whether that be light microscopes or scanning electron microscopes or transmission electron microscopes. Just how those different microscopes show different parts of anatomy and what they're used for. That has been really interesting for me. Also, just to realize how many different textures and patterns are within the human body that I wouldn't have necessarily thought of. It's been really interesting just learning about all of these different parts of anatomy, and hopefully it will make me a better doctor in the future because I can better understand these things. I saw that art and science both try to explain the world in a way that we can better understand it. And as I created all of this art, it was just a wonderful culmination of my time here at JBU and a good combination of both my science and art passion.
I recommended it to all of my fellow professors here in the science department. I said, you really need to go see Julia's show. It's really good. So yeah, I thought it turned out fantastic.
And I love that subtitle for her show, that beauty is more than skin deep, which really is a perfect description of the work she's put together.
I think any med school would be lucky to have her.